Hello and welcome, guys. Welcome to a brand new New York Stock Exchange Open on this beautiful afternoon, guys. I trust everybody is doing well. We're about to have a ton of fun as we did yesterday. I am your host, Dane Funema. So we're going to be spending a ton of time together as we dive into the markets and just have fun as it should be. So we're going to start off with a couple things, and really what we're going to do is we're going to break down a little bit of news. We started a little bit earlier today as we saw that early market spike on the markets yesterday afternoon. So we're going to touch on the news really quickly, but most importantly, we are here for the charts. We're here to analyze, we're here to look at trade opportunities, and if a trade makes itself available, we will be taking it. Now, guys, first and foremost, before we jump into that, please make sure you have liked and subscribed. Go ahead on our YouTube channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, that you are always the first to be notified about exciting things and brand new uploads. There's a ton that is planned throughout the next week that we'll be bringing straight to your inbox. Okay, so we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna start off with the news, we're gonna jump in, but ultimately it's all about the charts, right? So let's do a quick touch on what is happening in the world, and then we're gonna jump right into the charts. Now, there is a name that is going to keep coming up, guys, and I think we really need to start paying a little bit more attention. We will be doing a separate article on who Liz Truss is, right? I foresee that she's going to be stirring up a ton of politics, specifically on the pound, particularly to Europe, and I think it's going to be a massive ripple effect. So if there's one name we need to watch, it's going to be Liz Truss. She does, from my perspective, have a little bit of a Donald Trump vibe. She says it as it is. And obviously, being a newly elected to be prime minister, she's going to cause waves, right? And generally, that affects the markets. And we can obviously observe that and take advantage of that together. All right. The other item I really want to talk about is just quickly covering on the economic calendar. We don't have too much to be said. We do have Canadian interest rates decisions and meetings that are currently happening. These will take place at 4 o'clock, so directly after the stream. So if you are involved in the Canadian dollar, just make sure you are aware that at that particular time, there is going to be a high level of volatility. So obviously just look after your risk management on that front. Local news, nothing happening, nothing worth really talking about, but this particular article I find is something I'd really like to just touch on here. The market is giving us a ton of different data. We're seeing some data tell us that there's an economic downfall. We're seeing some data say that, hey, listen, things are getting a lot better. But ultimately, they sum it up in one sentence, and I love this, right? It says, in markets, when you're not sure what to think about something, price is often the best guide. And I've been saying this for years, guys. This external news, great. Politics, great. Whatever, no issues. But price action is king. What you see happening on the charts is king. Some of the best traders that I know, and some of them are our Globex 360 clients, they trade off of their phones, right? They don't have computers and 10 screens and all these crazy things. They're looking at price. They're looking at the movement of price, understanding its movements. It's an ultimate definition of what ultimately is happening in the markets, right? So I love this article. I will share it into the Telegram group to give you guys all a little bit of a read. Now, we do have the Apple launch happening this evening at 7 o'clock. Now, I just wanted to touch on this for a second before we jump into the live trading, because we have started a little bit earlier. A new phone, a new launch does not necessarily mean a jump in share price. As I shared in the article this morning, we may see a 1 to 2% uptick. However, if Apple delivers something groundbreaking, software, AI, whatever the case may be, that changes the landscape, yes, that signals to investors that there's more than likely going to be an uptick in sales. They may release a different type of lineup. So it's worthwhile watching. So if you'd like to be a part of that with me, provided I heard something about load shedding a little bit earlier, but I will confirm that in the groups, I would like to stream the launch as well as look at the charts, and we can make sense of that together. So if you want to be with me on that, obviously make sure, stay tuned. We will go through that together. But outside of that, guys, that's pretty much the news covered. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into US30, right? That is why we're here. Market structures are starting to play out. There's some moves here that I think we can definitely take advantage of. So as I showed you yesterday, I generally line up a bigger and smaller time frame next to each other just to understand the bigger picture, right, in terms of where we're busy going. So here's US30 on a 15-minute time frame. We've got a fairly neat structure here and what looks like an attempt to break out of the slight little channel that is moving here towards the downside. Now, looking at that channel on a slightly closer front, we can see that we have made a breakout. We've retested that support that I've drawn out, and the key level that I'm wanting to look at here is this level I've identified here as dynamic support or resistance. We've gone through it, but we've also fallen through it again as well. So we don't have a super clean structure that we can take a trade off of or basis off of. However, I'd like to show you guys a trick. If we observe the RSI, okay, and I'm just going to close this up slightly more, and I'm going to open up the RSI. Can you see what's happening over here on the RSI? That looks super messy, correct? Have a look at what's happening on the RSI. Right, the RSI is giving us a hint that markets are rallying up, but should we get a break to the downside, the RSI will break first, and it'll be one of our first indicators that there is momentum, abnormal momentum, flooding into the markets towards the downside. And that's one of the tricks that I use if I don't have a market structure that gives me that absolute confidence. That's one of the items that I use. So we're going to keep a close eye on that RSI in terms of what it's trying to do. But at the same time, we're also going to keep an eye on what German 30 is doing. German 30 has already started a little bit of a rally there. NASDAQ has also made a little bit of a push up, but what we're going to do here is we're going to put all of these guys side by side, right? So we're going to minimize everything that is not a 1 minute time frame. There we go. And we're going to stack them together as we did yesterday. On my left hand side, I do have here US 30, and in the middle we have German 30, and on the far right hand side we have our NASDAQ. I'll make myself a little bit smaller here for this moment, just to make sure we can see each other nice and clearly. All right. So we've got market structure, we've got an RSI there that's going to give us a little bit of an indication as to what's happening. We have a very similar thing we can potentially use on German 30. And today I am expecting movements only to start happening at 3:30, going back to normal, right? Yesterday was fairly abnormal. We also see a very similar thing on NASDAQ. We've got a little bit of an indication as to what's happening. So across the board, we're seeing the same thing. Yesterday, if we look at the move that we saw, we initially saw markets first go erratic in either direction and then settle in, and that's where we took that trade when we got confirmation that the general direction is towards a sell side. At this moment in time, we are seeing that our NASDAQs and German 30s are both looking for a topside move. However, Dow Jones is hanging around in this same level, not doing anything much. So this is what we want to wait for. If you recall as well, yesterday, NASDAQ shot up, German 30 hung down below, US 30 hung down below, and ultimately resulted in that 3,000 pip sell-off towards the downside. So that is why it's a waiting game. And often when we speak to traders and we get a little bit of feedback, the biggest issue that they have is pulling the trigger too early, right? Seeing a little bit of a move, having FOMO, fear of missing out, and then jumping into a trade. We will address that in the psychology section of our brand new academy that will be launching soon, and it will teach you that there's thousands of opportunities out there, right? There's thousands of moments. You don't have to have a fear of missing out. It's all about timing your entry, being patient, and waiting for it to tick the boxes that you are specifically looking for. And every trade is different. What I require in order to be a validated trade may not necessarily be what you require to be a validated trade. So let's continue to give this thing a look here. We are at the moment 3 seconds out from that opening bell, and then we should start to see some volume come into the markets. So on my perspective here, if we break this level over here on US30, I might go long. US30 is, NASDAQ is trying to push up. If we break that, I'm going long. If we break the support, I'm going short. Super simple. Super simple. And this is a strategy that you can use day in, day out. And the only times that this will catch you out is when the markets want to range, right? So if the market chooses to range, it can knock out your high, forcing you into a buy. It can knock out your sell, forcing you into a sell. So have a look there on the RSI. We're already getting, let's have a look there. The RSI is already giving us a sell indication, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump in, and there's a precautionary trade. All right, it very well may pull back, but I'm going to trust my RSI to give me that early lead, right? And I'm managing my risk here. I'm taking a very small stop loss. So I'm placing stop loss just above this zone here in the event we continue to see that move down, because my RSI peaked. It was a little bit of an early entry, but if it takes me out here, I've got a very small stop loss. I'm not adding multiple trades. And then if she continues that momentum to the downside, I can then add trades. But the RSI just gave me that little bit of a indication that there might be volume towards the downside. Let's continue to look at all three charts next to each other. Okay, so the fact that, ooh, what have we got here? Let's close that guy. Let's open that guy. There we go. So the fact that US 100 is spiking like that might tell me that we could be in for a long, because that is a very big long candle there. Let's just see here. She might pull back. Let's just give it a second. So the move that I'm going to go in here with is, if we make any push slightly higher on US30, I will then go for a hedged position. Hedged position meaning a false move elsewhere can cause the markets to follow. But ultimately, if that US30, if that US 100 pulls back down, then it means we will fall here. So if I break this, then I'm obviously going to go in for a long. And remember, breaking the microstructure, all that means is that you're breaking the immediate structure, and then you can continue to ride the longer distant wave. So let's wait out and see what she wants to do here. Okay, so there you can see she's falling. Let's see. So again, these ranges can happen where she just gets stuck, and this is where, you know, you can get stuck buying and selling, buying and selling. As long as you've got a position, stick to it. Put your risk management at play, right? Set yourself a predetermined risk and allow that to play out, right? Because there are obviously a lot of false moves. So my RSI on my US30 is still really wanting to break that structure. If US 100 continues to fall, we should then continue to see that break in structure, and we might then go in for another short for the day. So let's give it a look. Let's give it a look. Thank goodness I've got good music for you guys to keep you entertained while I'm busy watching markets. So let's open that up there. Yeah, this might be a range. And so unfortunately, when we're stuck into a little bit of a range of indecision, it can take anywhere up to 10 to 15 minutes for the markets to then figure out their direction. As we saw yesterday, this is actually a really good example. So remember yesterday, NASDAQ rather, pushed down and then created that symmetrical triangle formation, if you guys can remember, and then only made a breakout. So that could be what we're seeing there. But specifically on US30, it really looks like it wants to go up. Like, we've got a lot of candlesticks towards the downside. We've got a lot of rejection on the downside, specifically on US30. So let's hold and see. Again, this little range here is a very small range, so I'm not worried about catching a buy or sell right here in this range. I want to catch the breakout. So if it hits my stop there, immediately I will go in for a buy, and we will then run this towards the top side. Yeah, I think it really does want to run topside, but I'm going to hold it until it breaks. US 100 is definitely making its moves topside. So another thing you can use is when both German 30 and US 30 and US 100 are running topside, you generally are going to then see US 30 do the same thing. However, US 30 is just holding this level, but the second she pops up for a break, I'm going to end up buying her. So let's wait for that pop. Yeah, I think it's time. Okay, so we're popping in long there. We're pulling our support just down below. I'm going to add in some positions there. There we go. So moving massively into profit already. I'm going to add another position in there. Okay, so I'm adding positions in there. We've got stop losses in profit on 2 of our positions, and we're just going to then open this one up and continue to watch her run. So again, it's not necessarily always about grabbing the range. So all stop losses are now protected. We've only got one trade that is at risk, but all other trades are currently covered with a stop loss at this point in time. Now, what we'll do here to manage these trades, because we've got more than one trade, is I'm going to set up some trailing stops on each of them, and I'm going to do a 2,000 points trailing for each of my trades. And you'll see as soon as your trailing stop is activated, or you have a trailing, it will then highlight that trailing stop there. So another 2,000 right there, and we're going to add another trailing in there for another, let's make this one 3,000 because markets are pulling back. There we go. Beautiful. So all 3 trades in profit, and you should be running, you know, let's calculate. So you should be running anywhere between 600 and 700 pips per trade. One trade already closed out for 700 pips of profit. That's profit banked. I'm running some small trades there, but there's already about 10 grand we've made there in the space of about 2-3 minutes. So that's continuing to run. And just quickly having a look at who is joining us on this chat, just give a shout out to all of our clients that are here with us. We have Mary Ann, Heavenly Defended, we have MXSD SFM, we have Mackenzie, we have Latondo, we have Peter, Cabello, Vincent, Joseph, Gavin. We have a ton of people joining us on Telegram. So if your trailing stops are activated, then you should be good to go. Your trades should all be closing themselves in profit as we speak. Obviously, the bigger your trailing stop, right, the more room you're going to give your trade in order to run. So the bigger that trailing, the more room. So it'll just allow room to breathe, and it'll allow a pullback to happen and then a trade to continue. In this particular case, I've hit target. If we've got 2 or 3 trades each running at 600 pips profit, it means it's 1,800 pips banked for that particular session. Now, even more than that, and I just want to speak about this quickly while we're making money in the background, guys. If you are not part of the cashback program, I don't know where you are, right? Cashback program means that for every trade that you place, Globex will physically give you money back per lot that you trade. And this is just something absolutely world class. I end up placing my trades. I place a trade today, tomorrow, I trade throughout the week, and then I look at my cashback wallet and I've got a couple $100 that Globex has given me just for being a client of theirs, guys. It is just mind-blowing. It's something else completely. If you're still in this trade, have a look at how this trade is busy running. We are now busy running at this moment in time 1,000 pips in profit. Guys, come on. Where have you ever seen something like this? A brokerage that would go to the effort of producing and making sure that you have the best possible live stream, education, support, cashback, guardian angel, you can just name it. Where else does this happen? I'm waiting and I'll listen. Aslam, welcome, my dear brother. Joseph, welcome on YouTube. Noku, welcome. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button right now. There's going to be amazing content, as I've discussed. I will be producing something specifically just on crypto because that is where the future is. That's where it's going to be. I will confirm what the load shedding schedule is going to be like for this evening, and if I'm going to be in a position to stream that Apple broadcast. But once again, we smashed it yesterday. We've smashed it once again today, and that's what it's all about. We will start to diversify. I would love to have a live stream every single day, twice or 3 times a day. I'd love to cover the London session. I'd love to have a midday stream. I'd love to have an evening stream so we can start covering different assets, right, all together. And have a look at that. In the background, I'm not even worried about that trade. My stop loss is in profit. It's running. If this runs, it could make 20,000, or worst case scenario, if it gets stopped, I've made a couple thousand off very small trades. So just massive welcome. Noku, welcome for joining us on YouTube, and to everybody that is with us within Telegram, Laurelie Block, Zodak, Tapelo, Blessings, Nadir, Solomon. There's just too many people, guys. You want to be a part of this, and have a look at this. We're continuing to run in the background. We are now running well over 1,000 pips. You saw it right here. You've enjoyed it right here. We're running 1,100 pips in profit. Trailing stop is just there. Trailing stop is doing all the work for us. Now imagine one trade. Now imagine we can do this multiple times a day. Guys, listen. This is the Globex 360 way. Have a look at this. Have a look. Just be my guest. Have a look to the left. Where have you ever seen this in your lives before? But anyway, let's not toot our own horn. We're here every single day, and this is for every single one of you. There is so many exciting products that I wish I could be telling you about. You'll be hearing about this every single day. We'll be rolling out and explaining and taking you through something different. But let me just tell you something from behind the scenes, and I may get into trouble saying this, but there is so many things that the Globex 360 team has planned for every single one of you. It's just unseen. There's nothing else like it in Africa. If you don't have a live account funded and you're watching us right now, get funded, because from next week, all the live broadcasts, all the special things we're going to be doing is going to be in a new group for those of you that are funded. For those of you who are VIP clients of ours, we're going to be moving that into a completely separate group where we will be looking after your needs. The assets you want to trade is what we will analyze, and we'll spend time with every single one of you. Guys, as always, thank you for your time. This trade's continuing to run. This thing can run to the moon. This thing could run another 5, 6, 7,000 pips. It is what it is, but that's just a really quick way of making a couple thousand pips in one day. Just to give you some perspective, if you were making $1 per pip and you place 3 trades, it's $1,200 per trade. It's $36,000. What could you do with an extra 50,000 Rand in your pocket today? Let me ask you that. Anyways, guys, it's been a blessing. As always, thank you for supporting Globex 360 TV. We will continue to give back even more and more and more in every single way where we can. Comments, feedback, whatever you could suggest, we will make happen. As always, much love. And as always, do things the Globex 360 way. Until a little later, bye.